The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Tokutalk.
Yes, it's been a little bit since we've done one of these.
It's been a while.
I do enjoy doing them because it lets us extrapolate a little bit more about things we like and dislike in the Toku genre as a whole.
It's really just topics of conversation some people just don't think to have.
Yes, or they do, but they haven't put it in video form.
That's where we come in.
Yeah.
it's very true. It's so true. Now, the topic of today's Toku Talk is things we do like to see and don't like to see in Tokusatsu in the first episode.
So things that we prefer and do not prefer when we're being introduced to this new series.
Yes.
I already have one.
Let's start off, well, just to go by genre. Let's start off with Rider.
Okay. That one's harder.
Not so much genre as it is series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Wrong
genre.
word.
It's serious.
It's early for us.
Franchise.
And this is coming off of me just remembering the first episode of Ghost. And I made this complaint to both of you when it first came on. Do not change a form in the first episode.
No. For Kamen Rider, we need to be able to enjoy the base form.
We just got introduced to this thing.
Okay.
Let us get introduced to it. Ghost does his regular form and then Musashi immediately. And I'm just like, why? It's such a bad idea to do it because it sort of jerks you around a little bit in the episode.
Now,
Both of these toys are available now.
when it's a complete form change like that, I absolutely agree with you. But when it's the case of Forze, where a lot
Where
of
we just have the switches and
that are
add-ons.
power-ups, that's a little different. That is a little different. Let's just, I want to make sure we're
I
defining
can't
lines.
remember whether it happens in the first episode, but I was going to bring up O's as well, because we might see him use a few different metals in the first two episodes.
Yeah, we saw him use...
Which is the first arc.
We saw him use Mantis, and I think that's it.
Yeah, but we don't see Gato Kiribati until several episodes later, and that's the first legit form change that he gets.
Yeah. When your gimmick is a partial change like that, it's more understandable.
Yeah.
But
because, it just lets you access different things. But when it's
But when
like,
01 came out, we didn't immediately get the fucking shark form.
No, we didn't get the tiger form. That came episodes later.
And if I can springboard off of that into something that I do like seeing, show me a little bit of variety.
How so?
I mean, yeah, please elaborate.
In something like, show me a little variety in what I can expect from this character and how he fights and how he transforms.
Yeah.
Okay, so not just like the generic, rock 'em sock 'em until they blow up kind of deal?
Yeah.
Where, like, with 01, he jumped everywhere.
Because when I think about Kamen Rider Rose and I think about, give me a nice introduction to how does the henshin device work. Mm-hmm. Give me some nice shots of the suit so I can appreciate it. Do a good job.
The fanfare.
Yes, do a good job setting up your world. Give us a little tease of who the villains are.
Honestly, 01 checked all those boxes. The more I think about it, it really did.
Okay.
So I don't mean to keep going back to that.
No, I agree with you.
I will say that I love, and this is going to be a little bit different for the both of you. I like how Kabuto did it because the actual cast-off form didn't come until episode 2.
That's fair.
We just saw the armored form, so it's just like, oh, this is what the show is going to be like. It saves a surprise for later.
I get what you're saying. I would be more on board if the armored form was more utilized at all during the series.
Yeah.
Because
we're talking about first episode.
I know we're talking about first episode, but if that's what if you're not gonna show the form we're gonna see 90% of the show in the first episode, I get that it's a surprise, but it's also kind of misleading.
Marcus, would you say that applies to the rest of the show and how it presents itself? Not necessarily that form?
No.
I like the idea in terms of Kabuto, to kind of go back on that we are immediately introduced to the main writer.
And how the main villains, for at least the most part of the show, operate.
Well, that's because there was barely any main villains in that show at all. But we'll get there.
I don't think you have to be introduced to the main rider first, because sometimes they'll start with Man on the Street, and then the monster will attack, and we'll see the monster first.
Ryuki.
Right, but Ryuki, and especially in Kabuto, we're following Kagami, because he's the actual main character. but he's not the titular character. So it's very interesting. Also, should we say anything about Sasori? Because he tested positive.
Oh, for him and Kachiki Yellow.
Yeah,
they were in the same stage play. Yeah. Just hope you get better.
Yeah, we wish you a speedy recovery.
So
the moment I said Kagami, it popped back in my head because it's Sasori. Exactly.
Should we move on, or do you both have?
I'm trying to think because there's.
I do have one. Don't show all of your good ideas in the first episode.
Yeah.
Please give me an example of something.
Wizard.
Yeah.
Wizard shows a lot of cool things in the first episode, but unfortunately, that's all it has to offer.
Because the rest of the show is nothing like that, really.
And here's another thing: don't do something once. Don't blow your budget.
Yeah,
that's a big one for me. Is don't blow your budget in the first episode. Showing like the shot where he. No, that's
I know.
But
the shot where he bends the bullets. And stuff.
where he curves the bullets, and we see him, and we like follow the CG bullet as it
Kamen Rider
flies into the monster. That's a cool thing. He never does it again. At least never to that level of detail.
Yeah. It's just depressing when they end up doing things like that.
And even things like the mirror world and the dragon and how like we see everything the show is going to offer from that point forward in the first episode, and it never changes.
Yeah.
So
like that's just how the show operates.
So getting back to what I was saying, variety.
Yeah. Let's move
Ice
on
things up
to Sentai.
Don't show us the mech in the first episode.
Do not show us the mech in the first episode. Dire Ranger did this so perfectly because it waited until episode 8. Battle Fever did this so perfectly because it waited until episode 10.
My issue with Sentai, and this isn't just a first episode issue because it's a whole series issue, it's so formulaic in terms of episode structure.
Yeah, we talked about this during. I think it was an interview where we just mentioned this.
It's so painful. I haven't been able to get back into Kira Major because Kira Major's starting that formula again.
It breaks it up pretty quickly. It's made it enjoyable, even though some things with Sayo are a thing. But just back on the first episode, when I rewatched the first episode of Zoojer, and it reminded me of how much I do not like the first episode of Zoojer because it
smacks you across the face.
That, and the fact that it just refuses to give you any space to breathe.
The issue with Zoojer, though, is that they had so many characters to introduce.
Did they?
They had 9 starting Rangers. You're
talking about Q Ranger.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. I can't...
And not all of the, at the beginning of Q Ranger, they show all of them. They came over the first episodes.
You're talking about Zoojer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also plot holes in the first episode. How did I know what a spaceship was?
That's Z Ranger.
What am I doing? I said Z Ranger a second ago, didn't I?
No.
You said Q Ranger a second ago.
You are everywhere today.
Yeah.
But
I woke up with a headache. I'm starting off great.
I'm just looking at the first episode, and I'm sitting here like Yamato's personality that he has in the first episode is really not a lot like that for the rest of the show.
I'm still trying to figure out what show this is.
Zoojer.
Oh, right. Okay.
A lot of the mechs being introduced so quickly, and this is one of those things that are for both Sentai and Rider and Ultraman as well. I think when you set it up the way that it does in this show, people should not know what to do with the transformation devices immediately.
Yeah.
And this really bothers me.
This dates back to the Showa era.
Yeah.
Where the computer boys and girls give Goggle 5 their henshin device. It's like, you're this color. Okay, henshin, and then they immediately know what to do.
Okay, and I will say this in that show's defense, at least and I mean this like for most of the show era, the henshin devices were much simpler. They weren't a phone that required a certain number of a certain combination of buttons to press that the Red Ranger automatically knew. Looking at you, Zoojer. I was also Magi Ranger, or is that different because they were also the wands?
Yeah, I think we can bypass that one a little bit because it was the wands, but it's
pretty much any cell phone related henshin device.
A lot of the cell phone.
Well, the Gokaiger ones made sense
because they were already there before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Zoojer, there was no Yamato just
was
ran through this world.
handed a Rubik's Cube and said, transform. And he was like,
oh,
got
buttons. And then the other 4...
And then he has to twist it.
Yeah. And then the other 4 also do the same thing. But the thing is, they had to pick a specific number. Mm-hmm. There is nothing on that phone to signify what number to press. Nothing. And it bothers
He pushes the wrong one. The animal you have requested is not in service now. To speak to a customer
I would love for
representative,
the 4 of them to transform. They look back at him and he's like, I can never get these fucking things. I fucking hate Rubik's Cubes. Why? I think it's just like a mangled mess.
I think that honestly would have been a little bit better and would have worked better for the way that the story went.
Yeah.
But then almost immediately after, I'm just like, alright, so we just got introduced to the villains. Really don't have that much of a personality in the first episode. We just got introduced to the heroes, who really don't have that much of a personality in the first episode. And then we end up getting introduced to the individual mechs and then the combination. We don't need all of this.
But and then we have and then there are shows like Tokuger, the henshin device is, they automatically know, but it can be explained away by imagination. And honestly, it's really simple. Lift guard, put train in track, close guard, done.
I think it was Denzi Man who had just like a ring as a transformation device, and the suit came out of the ring.
I mean, the Go Rangers just sort of transformed.
They spun.
Yeah. Well, the camera spun for them.
Spin around in a circle. I can't wait to watch Go Ranger, I'm not gonna lie. It's just gonna be, I'm sitting here like, what is happening? But you just end up having things like that, and I'm just like, what if we only got maybe a few Rangers in the first Jetman? Mm-hmm. Or we only got white and yellow in the first episode. No mention of the mech that came out a couple episodes later. Then we got blue and black in the next couple episodes as well. Mm-hmm. It was just like, alright, so the pacing is set up a lot better.
Don't start with a full team.
Yeah, it's better.
Kyryuger did something similar too. The full team was there, but they weren't all.
Well, they weren't a full team because King came in later.
And even when he did, it was the whole idea of this is like a side gig. Let's not know each other's names.
It lasted for 2 seconds. And then he unhinged and said, "No, my way."
And everybody was like,
"Oh. All right."
But I didn't say it was executed great. I just said it was a thing. They tried.
Right.
They get the participation trophy.
Something I've always liked seeing in the first episode of Sentai is our villain introductions. The way,
if they're done well.
Well, here's how it usually tends to go is, we'll have like a little scene with one of the heroes, usually the Red Ranger. There'll be something with a monster, something with a man on the street, and then we'll cut to the villain's hideaway, and then one by one we'll pan, like the camera will like move around. And like here's Bandora, here's Goldar, and here's this person, and here's this person, and
but there was only 2. I know,
and I tend to like that scene because it gives you a nice little tease of what they all look like.
That's fair.
Tokuger did it great.
Yeah, Tokuger. Like,
Tokuger did it fantastic.
Like, what does their lair look like? What's their overall aesthetic? What is their theme?
Meanwhile, the Legion of Doom.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
No, the Legion of Doom.
Meanwhile, at the headquarters of the Legion of Doom, whatever it was he said.
I lost my train of thought.
Pants.
I thought of something I kind of like to see in first episodes of Sentai. I want to see the stakes raised. Looking at Ryu's Soldier. Those masters died.
Unfortunately, when you end up doing something like that, you had to keep those stakes raised.
No. I don't think they don't need to be raised that high.
No, but it's just like you have to have some level of upward progression. Otherwise, you can't.
If you start at 100, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But like I said,
I mean, you can go up, but theoretically,
show me the stakes. Is
you know what is the best way that happened? Probably will agree with me. Live band.
Yeah.
Everybody.
All the stereotypes. All the tokens.
Where everybody was on that spaceship and they were murdered. And then you had the scene before that where, their friends went into Professor Bea's spaceship and killed 2 of the people right immediately.
How is mass murder not 100, but just a triple murder is?
I feel like it's the way that it happened there because it was because of that entrance scene. It didn't immediately go there. It just went, friends, why have you betrayed me? People are killed, and then it was just personal.
Oh, you're talking about the opening narration?
No, I'm talking about like that whole first part of the episode.
I think we can boil it down to as simple as one worked, one didn't.
Yeah.
At least for him.
for him. I feel like
I think it's just because of the fact that it hit a wall and didn't know where to go.
Well,
because of the fact that
that's
really dialed back.
They did, and I'm not denying that. But in the standalone universe of just that one episode, it was great. Just to see that these three people who are better fighters than the people we are being introduced to at this point in time
got murked.
Annihilated.
They did get killed right away.
They got died.
So it really just shows the audience, hey, we're not fucking around, and they shouldn't. Though they did fuck around for the next 40-some episodes.
But it goes back to what you said about Wizard. It's like they blew your load and didn't know what to do afterwards.
But again, that's going into the problems with the rest of the show. Yeah. I'm just talking about the first episode.
But I just think Live Man did it better.
I think they could have.
Because it felt more personal. And it was on such a small scale at the very beginning. Because it was a betrayal.
Okay, I'm comparing triple homicide to blowing up the fucking spaceship.
I'm talking about the scene before that.
Okay. The betrayal, that's fantastic. Yeah. I agree with that. I am comparing those two acts.
I know.
One is far less 100 than the hundreds of murder.
Again, one worked, one didn't.
But I think that could have worked in Ryu Soldier if their execution of the rest of the show wasn't so piss poor lazy.
Now, do we have anything else, or do we want to move on to the next one? Because we'll see this too.
Move on. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I don't have anything else either.
Ultraman.
Do you have anything in particular you don't like seeing? Transformations that take 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Ultraman, it's so much more egregious.
Yeah.
I almost had a smart-ass comment. I'm just going to keep quiet here.
It takes a very long time. Do not show a previous monster. Give us something new.
That's very difficult for Ultraman to do, as we noticed.
Unless you're like something like Tiga, which was pretty much just a straight-up new monster.
That's because Tiga takes you higher.
But we end up having something like that. A little higher. It's just better to give us something new along with them. So we're not so entrenched in the old.
Because you were talking earlier about how don't immediately know how to transform. Zet just did that great when he didn't know what he was doing and had to be instructed on how to transform. Yeah. And there was that little stinger at the end where he raises the thing up and it's like, oh, you gotta push the button. Oh, right. And then he transforms.
It's so interesting we end up having the dichotomy, though, when they do end up bringing an old monster, because they're brown.
Yeah,
we were just watching, right before you got here, episode 5 of Zeto, and I'm just sitting here looking at it like, this monster is extremely brown, therefore is extremely old. And plot twist, I was right. So, I just want something new, but just like Ryder.
Just brown and ugly like a children's bath toy that never got clean.
Yeah. Just like Ryder, just show us the form. We don't need any more.
Yes.
It's just like, once again, we had to get introduced to this character.
Here's something I like. Show every member of your team, if there aren't too many of them, and show us what their role is on the team. Mebius did that. Mebius has like the greatest first episode ever. Because they're not technically a team yet, but we know everything about we know a little something about everyone's personality and background and their motivations and what they do, and it's just the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That episode is so good.
This is something that I sort of don't want for like a lot of the episodes. I really don't like a lot of narration. Because it's just like, you're telling us.
Voiceover is tricky. There is a way to do it, and there's a way to do it right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could either be Shawshank Redemption or you could be the theatrical cut of Blade Runner.
It's just like, I feel like when you have some things like, they did this for 65 million years ago. Things like that, it just tells. And I'd much rather be shown.
Sometimes it's okay to have. I think a better way to do narration is to have a character in the show narrating like their story up to this point to catch us up. That's fine, other than a nameless person going, in the year of 2005, the Ultraman fought Gingle Blingle, and it was lovely.
Gingle Blingle. Gurgle Schmurgle.
Yes, my favorite monster.
Weirdly enough, I feel like Deca Ranger does this the best, but I think it works better there because of the way the show is set up in itself. It's a police show. It sort of feels like it has to have a narrator. That's just sort of a staple. But in some things, like, just go ahead and, like, show us the things that happen. I'm saying trying to do things for budget. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter which show you're doing. But at the same time, just show us the things that happen. Like Bellio killing everybody in the movie.
Such an amazing opening.
Yeah. But yeah, do we have anything else? I really don't have anything for Garo.
No, Garo is such a different entity. It's hard. It hasn't really been around long enough to have bad tropes.
Well, it's been 15 years, but I will say that it doesn't have enough series.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
That's what I implied.
They're sort of spread out over the years. And
they're not every year.
Different universes and stuff like that. So it's not all just one way to do it. Just like VR.
I have one thing. If your character is Garo the Golden Knight, make sure his suit's actually gold. I don't give a shit. It's for plot convenience. Fuck you, Season 3.
I'm still confused on exactly how that happened. I watched the show. Like, I got it, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
At least the sequel is great.
But yeah, those are our thoughts on first episodes and things we do and don't like to see for this Tokutalk.
Let us know what you think of first episodes and what you do and do not like to see in the comments down below.
We'll see you all
next time.
Bye,
everybody.
All right.
Don't forget to join us in all the things.
All the things.